Think in probabilities. Why your good decisions still failed. Experts bet on systems. Amateurs chase results. Thinking in probabilities means making decisions based on the highest chance of winning, with the greatest likelihood of success. Like the Chinese saying goes, Bu yi cheng bai lun ying xiong. The absolute result of success or failure doesn't define a hero. What I'm trying to say is the future is unpredictable, be it business, entrepreneurship, or life in general. Sometimes it's impossible for us to retain all the information to make the best possible decision. Even if we could, the amount of time and effort may not be worth it. Scientific decision-making is to separate decision-making ability from luck. Suppose there are two options before you. Choose A, the success rate is 65%. Choose B, the success rate is only 35%. The scientific decision is to choose A firmly. However, if you choose A and find that the correct result is B, you can't say that you chose A is a bad decision, right? Right? You see, most people just can't bend their head around this concept. Whether the result is correct or not doesn't matter. It's just a matter of luck. You must be able to distinguish between making the optimum decision, aka the decision that has the probability in your favor, and luck. You'd think that people would be very rational about this. Who the hell is that stupid? Well, the reality is a lot more deceiving than a math equation. Because in life there's no absolute black or white. Most things in life are gray. There have been surveys given to people asking the question, of all the decisions you have made, what is the best one and what is the worst one? The answers received are highly consistent. The best decisions were the best results, and the worst decisions were actually the worst results. People cannot distinguish the difference between the optimum decision-making and the outcome of the decision. A scientific decision-maker should examine the system and figure out the rules of the game first, and judge the winning rate on the basis probability. He focuses on his skill of decision-making and the rationality of the decision-making process instead of the final result. There's this proverb in Chinese, "Zigu feng yun duo bian huan, bu yi cheng bai lun ying xiong." History has always been turbulent. Greatness is not measured by winning or losing. Things sometimes could change drastically. One can't determine whether he's a hero or not based on his success or failure. Whether a decision is good or bad is irrelevant to the result of the decision. The future is uncertain. You have only a limited amount of information while making the decision, so judging the quality of a decision can only be based on the info you have at the moment when you make a decision, rather than judging it after the results are revealed. LOL. The last paragraph sounds like a tongue twister. The strategies are meant for increasing the odds of success, not guaranteeing it. The correctness of the decision-making process is more important than the correctness of the results. Many hedge fund managers have good performances only because they took higher risks and thus gained higher returns in the bull market. It is not their strategy or skill or ability that provided them remarkable returns. For a poker player, what he can do is choose an option with a certain probability of winning. They call this the expected value. To maintain a long-term advantage is to be able to persist in making long-term choices with positive expectations. Here's a very simple example. Suppose A and B play a coin-tossing game. If positive, even if A wins, B will give A $100. If B is on the back, A will give B $50. As far as the expected value is concerned, of course it is good for A. But if you only play once or twice, and A loses both, many people see the result of A losing 2 times and losing $100, and then say that A's decision to participate in this game is wrong. These people are completely ignorant of the long-term statistical advantage. Such people exist in real life. They are the very people who keep wasting their money on lotteries and live a poor life. In real life, when the actual situation is much more complicated, most people would be affected by short-term results. It was considered a right decision if they received a positive return in the short term, and vice versa. The book by Annie Duke. Thinking in Bets tells us, be brave to embrace uncertainty and make smarter decisions when you don't have all the facts. The same applies to investing. We have to learn to distinguish between decision-making and outcome. Most people actually evaluate decision-making with the final results. Getting bad results does not mean your decision is bad. Getting good results does not mean that your decision is good. This is just a hindsight bias. Why are the tips of successful people so popular? Because we are impulsed to find an explanation for everything. We'll make up one if there's none. We hate randomness and unexplainability. Have you seen that joke? Ask successful people for their advice, and they will give you their lottery number. People always think if the result is bad, then the decision made is also bad. But if you often play poker, you know that this is not the case. Poker players call this situation the resulting mentality. Poker has to be played many rounds. You should care about a scientific decision-making system that can win money with a high probability, not the outcome of a certain game. You want to win in the long term. Ordinary people pay attention to the results, and experts pay attention to the system. This is the basic skill of scientific decision-making. There was an experiment that divided people into several groups to complete the same task. Each group did equally good on the task. However, the experimenters randomly selected several groups and gave them good ratings, whereas rate other groups poorly, then asked them to summarize why. Turns out, people can all come up with something. The group with high ratings said it was due to their excellence at speaking, while the group with poor ratings said they spoke too much. This instinct to find reasons for results leads people to believe that there must be reproducible reasons for success. In fact, many successful people's lessons are derived by using known results to explain unknown reasons. These reasons are not unique to them or even the determinants of success, but the aura of success will make you believe that success only requires that. For example, the successful entrepreneur may say he worked hard, he surveyed the market, they focused on the product. Well, there are millions of other entrepreneurs who did the same things, even worked harder, yet they still failed. How do you explain that? Have you ever thought about maybe you are just lucky? Maybe you are just under survivorship bias? Here's a fable. Life is like digging a well, which perfectly ridicules this phenomenon. There are two people digging a well. One person insists on digging in one place, and the other one digs for a while, and it feels that there is no sign of water, and then changes the place. Result 1, the first person digs out the water. Lesson: life must persist. Result 2, the second person dug out the water. Lesson: life should be flexible. Result 3, both people dug out the water. Lesson: any efforts in life will be rewarded. Result 4, neither of them dug out the water. Lesson: the outcome of life is always unpredictable. There is no one-size-fits-all principle in life. In fact, the principle of life is that there is no principle. This is the typical survivorship bias, which I have already discussed in my luck video. Go watch it if you are interested. When we explain a high-probability decision, we often say, I think this thing is like this or that, but few people will say, I am 95% confident that this is true. Remember, you need to have a growth mentality. Learning is more important than being right. I hope you felt the same enlightenment as I felt when I was first exposed to this concept.